And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break. Just hanging with these great NBA experts as we go ahead and continue our team previews. We are once again looking to find time for our nemesi. Well, actually, I think they think of us as that. Unfortunately, due to our relationship with each other as far as LA to LA, it may not be the same way around. But it is the LA Clippers. LA Clippers going into this season. A lot of moves in the offseason. I think of all the teams, for one way or another, they'll probably go down in history as probably having the most interesting offseason. And here today to go ahead and discuss that is a good man indeed. Please go ahead and check out what he's doing for the Clipperholics. I know we have our own Lakerholics that stop by the show. This is the Clipperholics right there as far as the great experience you can get there if you're a Clippers fan or a fan of the NBA. It is Iliyan Lakhani. And Iliyan, great to have you on the program, my friend. I feel like it's deja vu for some reason. I don't know why.
Super excited to be here. Super excited to talk basketball, Clippers, NBA, Lakers, of course, even though the love on our side is as much as it is for every other team. Still excited to talk basketball,
Absolutely. Yeah. And again, our envy only is in the, building that you guys have with Steve Ballmer, but that's part of the issue when it comes to the old controversy that happened. As this is being recorded, it's just happened in the recent past where Pablo Torre found out and proved a lot of documentation that a third-party company that involved that was a potential sponsor for the LA Clippers that Steve Ballmer had invested in. Aspiration, I believe it's called, if I remember correctly, aspired to something a little bit different than what a lot of other people have thought. And climate-wise, it didn't really do a whole lot for the climate, but it did do a whole lot for the Department of Justice, which sentenced the owner or got the owner convicted of wire fraud. And it's led to a situation where if you Pablo Torre and if you journalists digging knee deep into the books there, into the paperwork for a carbon, I guess. Well, the joke was he printed out all this paperwork for a company that had tried to leave a zero carbon footprint. But in all midst of all that was $28 million over the course of 4 years to Kawhi Leonard for a contract, as Pablo Torre on his show spelled out in detail and backed it up with proof that Kawhi Leonard did nothing. So I ask you, how nervous are Clippers fans? Because at this time, we have not heard anything yet on the status of what may go down or what may be done by the league outside of an investigation. Steve Ballmer himself tried to do damage control, innocent of all charges, did not know what's going on with the company, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But tell me your thoughts about this whole Kawhi Leonard thing and about how it's gone down.
Well, as you know, Steve Ballmer, obviously, like you mentioned, tried to do damage control. He tried to hop on interviews and tried to control his side of the noise. The Clippers front office and their organization released a statement denying basically everything that Pablo Torre found out. And then overall, I believe that they're allegations at the end of the day. And so when it comes to these types of situations, there's two sides to every story. And regardless of whatever comes out, I think right now Clippers fans are extremely nervous. Our hearts are racing because this season was supposed to be the season that the championship could finally transpire into the reality that we've been wanting for so many years. We've been waiting. We've been patient with Kawhi Leonard. We've been patient with Paul George. We've been patient with James Harden. And even after all the injuries and everything, this season was supposed to be that season where Kawhi Leonard begins the season healthy. The Clippers had a bunch of phenomenal moves in the offseason. Chris Paul, Bradley Beal, Brook Lopez, John Collins, bunch of phenomenal moves. And then right before training camp starts, I mean, you have this of all things come out, and now you're, as a Clippers fan, you're kind of in awe as to like what could even happen, how severe will the consequences be. I mean, we have so many questions going on. So I think I speak for all of Clipper Nation when I say this, that we are extremely nervous and very eager to see what the investigation reveals from the NBA side of things.
I'll just say this in it, as far as repeatedly, as far as how it conducts itself in the NBA Constitution and the guidelines, the words detrimental to the league are in there. And if the commissioner finds something out that is detrimental to the league, he has to act accordingly. And I'll relate it to something that happened to me recently, earlier this summer, where we had a insurance company, normal insurance company, a well-known insurance company, just wanted to add my daughter who got her license recently, wanted to add her to our account. Seems like no problem, right? We'll just pay more because she's a new driver. No. Well, they said, well, we'll have to take a look at it and we'll get back to you. We'll let you know. Well, they let us know, all right, by mail. 2 weeks after cutting off our insurance and not letting us know. I went on a trip. I went all throughout California as far as in June. Didn't even know I didn't even have insurance. So I came back to the mail. I had to go walk to my mailbox, and which who checks the mail every day anymore. So 13 days passed overall that I had no insurance. So when I called to let the state of Nevada know I got insurance, got taken care of, but then state of Nevada says, hey, what's going on with this? I called. I said, hey, look, I didn't know. They didn't tell me. They sent me the mail back through the mail and told me that they were no longer going to serve us, paid us back what we had paid them, and so they couldn't do it just simply because they didn't want to put my brand new driver daughter on the account. And when I talked to the state of Nevada on this, because I'm going to get a possible fine at some point in time, their response was, regardless of the problem, because they will not. There's no way around it as far as you being punished at some point in time. You will receive a fine. There's just no exceptions. So again, the words "no exceptions" are the important part of the story, because no exceptions. I don't care if Steve Ballmer knew, Steve Ballmer didn't know. I mean, that's still $28 million being allocated in an unnatural way for nothing in return as far as work on Kawhi's side. Now, if they don't decide to go after Ballmer, they could decide to go after Kawhi, voiding a contract, some type of punishment. But I think, again, detrimental to the league and no exceptions should be there in place is the moral I'm trying to get to the story.
100%, I agree. And as biased as I would be in this situation, as far as Clippers fans not wanting anything to happen to Kawhi Leonard, obviously we want to see our best player be there on day one. From an NBA fan's perspective, I would want the league to be fair as far as giving. If the allegations are true, I would want the league to be fair towards giving Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers the punishment they deserve, because if they're guilty, then, as you mentioned, no exceptions, detrimental to the league. I think all of these apply in this situation, and whether that's voided contracts, first-round picks, which the Clippers are already limited in, or whatever the case may be, any sort of punishment, fines, whatever it may be, I think that the overall goal is to just get this over with for Clippers fans, whether that's a suspension or whatever the case may be. I'm excited and I'm very eager to get the show on the road, and I want this to be over as quick as possible.
Once again, I'm on with Iliyan Lakhani. Please go ahead and check out his great work today for Clipperholics, part of a fan-sided community right there for you. Just a great job that what he does in covering the Clippers. And now that we got that out of the way, of course, and we talk about the importance of Kawhi Leonard to your team, obviously, however many games he gives you during the season, but more importantly for the playoff run. I get that. I understand that keeping him healthy, if he's cleared of all charges, will be imperative to your team as well. But the signings that you did, the pickups that you made, of course, getting Lopez over here from Milwaukee as a backup, but also to play alongside, making it more palpable in a league that's now positioning itself towards teams going with two big men at times for their lineups. Also, as well, the fact that Ivica Zubac's coming off a tremendous season at the center position, having no realistic backups at that point in time, now has Lopez. They have the kid from Penn State, Conan. Again, I don't know if I was mentioning to you before, but I think that whenever he does a slam dunk, they got to put on the Conan as far as from not Conan O'Brien, everyone, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Conan, like that right there, or something like that. But also as well, of course, John Collins in a pinch can also play small center for you as far as it's concerned. But seeing that the front line has been beefed up is really what I want to address first, and how much better it is as far as bringing those names in and bringing some of that experience and talent, in the case of the Penn State kid, in there.
So as far as development, I think that our rookie center, he's in the best situation possible. And, the ideal situation any young big man would want to be entering the league. I mean, you have Ivica Zubac, who's just made all defensive, most improved player of the year finalist. We felt like he deserved to be a defensive player of the year finalist, but that's another conversation for another time. And then behind him, you have Brook Lopez, who has who has an all defensive background. He was a defensive player of the year finalist a few years back. So as far as his development goes, I think that he did have a shaky summer league, but he's in the best situation possible. But as far as our front line and where we stand right now, I think the Clippers have arguably one of, if not the best center rotation in the NBA. You just had Ivica Zubac's breakout for a phenomenal season, averaging double figures, double doubles, and he even had a triple double this season. And then you have Brook Lopez, who we didn't even have a backup center last season. So now you have Brook Lopez coming into the mix. Yeah, he's a bit older. Yeah, he has his flaws in drop coverage, whatever the case may be. But the fact that you have another player who plays somewhat similar to Zubac, I think the Clippers are going to be a nightmare for every team in the league.
Once again, do want to make sure everybody gets a shout out to right here, guy who does it all for the Clipperholics, Iliyan Lakhani. Truly appreciate him joining me once again as we take care of your needs right here as far as the NBA preview with the LA Clippers. So with that said, again, kind of struggled during the summer league, but I don't want to put it past him. A kid 7 feet athletic as far as is concerned. Yannick Conan Niederhauser with the names on there, doesn't really need to go ahead and get a whole bunch of time early, but and seeing that he can play under the wing of guys like Zubac and also as well Lopez and find his way through. So that might be something very interesting for the team later on to utilize, especially if they want to go back to utilizing more athletic, lob-friendly lineups, and indeed. But obviously it starts a lot with, of course, Kawhi Leonard and of course, James Harden. We've talked about, as far as Lakers fans, repeatedly about James Harden not being able to get it done in the playoffs. I think that's well documented. It's not just for the Clippers. It's just, it's okay, Houston Rockets, OKC, et cetera, just not being able to turn it up when the lights are brightest for the most part. Philadelphia 76ers, where he was either great or terrible, depending on which game you go to. At this point, though, with the addition of so many veterans, that if you can get through the regular season, set yourself up for success in the postseason, how important that is that to alleviate some pressure off of James Harden, who doesn't feel like he has to do everything in a playoff run?
Well, I think if you have James Harden, I think this is something the Clippers have already accepted as a front office, that if you have James Harden as your second option to Kawhi Leonard, unfortunately, the reality is you're just not going to go very far. I mean, you saw it with Philadelphia, and now you're seeing it with the Clippers, and you've seen it in his years in the past where he has his moments, and he had several great games against the Denver Nuggets, granted, but when the pressure came onto his shoulders and when the lights were brightest in Game 7, he absolutely disappeared. And so that being said, you add in Bradley Beal, you add in a phenomenal veteran, Chris Paul. You add in John Collins, who, if he's healthy, he's a phenomenal power forward. He can really do damage in the postseason. And then you have Brook Lopez, like we mentioned earlier, a little bit of his background. So you have all these veteran pieces that help Harden. I guess he's still going to have pressure in the playoffs, but he's not going to have as much pressure in the playoffs. Bradley Beal is going to be very, very big in the postseason. He struggled with the Phoenix Suns, but again, he's in a different role with the Clippers. And I honestly think that James Harden is positioned for a successful season despite everything that happened against the Denver Nuggets. He had an amazing regular season last year, and very excited to see what he's going to produce this season.
Now, on the Lakers fast break, we've talked about how when LeBron picked up the final year on his contract, the $52.6 million final year on his contract, that his agent, Rich Paul, stated in a statement that the Lakers were leaning into two different timelines. And we'll talk about the Lakers here in a minute. But the fact that they were looking to be competitive now, but also looking as far as freeing up cap space for the future. And while they will not get it done as soon as the Lakers will, as far as freeing up cap space, 2027 looks to be a very interesting offseason because it seems like the Lakers, yes, they have 1 foot in the now, but they're trying to keep an eye on what's up ahead in case maybe a certain Antetokounmpo or another player. No, not Jokic. Nobody's thinking about Jokic at this point. Jokic is either going to re-sign or he's going to go retire and go take care of his horses. I'm just going to say that again for the 50th time because people are like, Jokic to the Lakers? No, just no, come on. I'll see it when I believe it, is what I always like to say. But be that as it may, Leon, your thoughts on the organization? I mean, they got a lot of names, got a lot of experience. In fact, one of the oldest teams on record ever in the NBA. But did they go all in enough for your comfort factor, or because the fact that there is on the horizon something that they might have freed themselves up with as far as, trying to say, hey, we're going to commit to now, but we're also trying to commit to the later?
I think you said it best. Committing now and committing later was going on in the mind of Lawrence Frank. I feel like the traditional rebuild is not going to happen for the Clippers. I think they're just going to jump from one superstar era with Kawhi, PG, and Harden to another superstar era when the Kawhi Leonard era is done. Then you jump in and you try to go pursue Giannis and all of the other names in the 2027 offseason. So I'm very excited and I'm very glad that Lawrence Frank handled the offseason the way that he did. He has, if you look at the contracts, everyone's on 1+1s or they're on 2-year deals. That way, basically the whole team, with the exception of Zubac, is going to be a free agent at that time. So the whole payroll will be empty. This was also one of the reasons why they didn't want to extend. I feel like they didn't want to extend Norman Powell because had they extended Norman Powell, he would have been under contract through the 2027 offseason, which would have hindered the chances of acquiring a player of Giannis Antetokounmpo's caliber. So you have all this experience now, and you're in a position to succeed now, and then you're also in a position to succeed for the future. And then as far as right now goes, I think people are over-exaggerating the age excuse. I know Kendrick Perkins made a wild take saying that the Clippers' age is going to really hurt them in the long run, and I feel like that is not the case. I think if you go by positions and you go by acquisitions, I think Brook Lopez, we didn't even have a backup center last season. Then you throw in Brook Lopez. We didn't even have a backup, really a true backup point guard last season. Then you throw in Chris Paul, and then you have Bradley Beal, you have John Collins. So all these additions really ended up making the Clippers stronger. And I think in the long run, the fruits of labor are going to be paid off.
I'll just say this from an outsider's perspective to the Clippers. When you get these old teams, just be prepared for it. Because I think I mentioned to you previously in our previous conversation that the Lakers in 2022, the summer of 22 acquired at that time was one of the oldest teams with Carmelo, Westbrook, all that. And I likened it at that time to the 2014 NBA All-Star team. I used to make that joke quite a bit at that time. And obviously it didn't work out for the Lakers. So I'm sure Clippers fans are hoping for that better alternative. And again, that there's talent, and there's also a lot of names on there as far as recognizable names. If they can produce anywhere, even if some are over the hill or some are seeing better days, if they can produce anywhere near to what they once did and provide some type of good production for your guys, then obviously that's what you're looking for to be the case. As a veteran team, they know what it takes to win. It's just a matter of being able to apply still the energy to do so. So with that said, Iliyan, let me ask you this. If everything goes right for your Clippers, all the old guys, outside of Bogdanovich, who already hurt himself in EuroLeague, and that's the only major injury that you might have during the course of the season, you have the NBA commissioner, Adam Silver, waving a wand like a Jedi. No, you guys didn't see anything like that. You didn't see anything problem with that. No problems at all with comes with Kawhi Leonard. So everything is fine. Everything is just fine with Kawhi Leonard. And he's gets off scot-free with all this. And everything goes well. What do you see the outcome for the team if everything falls into place?
I mean, I believe that there's only one outcome in this situation, and that, of course, is a championship. Something fans have been waiting for since the Clippers were really established. I mean, all through Lob City, we were patient with Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan, injuries on injuries. Then you transition into the SGA, the rookie year of SGA, where we finally have a good draft pick, and then they trade him. But then you get Paul George in return, and then now you have been patient again, just like they were in Lob City. Now you're patient again with the same exact thing, injuries, blown leads, whatever the case is. So I think at this point in time, the only outcome, if there was really a genie asking us, we had one wish as a Clippers fan that will be fulfilled, I think the only right answer is a championship.
Well, there you go, indeed. Truly appreciate again, Iliyan, you taking the time to speak to me. But before we head out, and before you give the cheap plug for what you're doing out there in the world as far as covering the NBA and the Clippers at Clipperholics, want to go ahead and ask you your thoughts as a Clippers fan, as a Clippers follower, as a guy who writes about the Clippers and the NBA. Your thoughts on the Los Angeles Lakers. Obviously, you know, Luka Doncic, of course, coming into a season where if he's healthy, is a top MVP candidate. LeBron James, age 41 season, still coming off of, like James Harden, a third team all NBA season. So still some good numbers could be on the way of that. If everything falls the way you see it for the Lakers, where do you think they end up?
As much as tough of a battle as it would be, I would want to see both teams in the Western Conference Finals fighting it out for a chance at the NBA Finals, and then, of course, a chance to win it all. I absolutely, as much as Luka Doncic has cooked the Clippers in both stints with the Mavericks and with the Lakers, as much as he's picked us apart, I love the guy as a player. I'm a very, very big fan. I was very, very shocked and very sad that the Lakers of all teams are the team that landed one of my favorite players in the league. And I think that this year is going to be the year that he wins MVP. He's on that level of SGA. He's on that level of Jokic. He's on that level of Giannis. Constant MVP finalist guys. And I think this is the year that if he meets that 65-game minimum, and if the Lakers, which I expect them to be one of the top winners in the Western Conference, I think that he wins. He takes that award home finally this year. And then on top of that, I think that the Lakers are a very, very well-rounded team. They added the center that I wanted. I know people have mixed opinions on DeAndre Ayton because of the amount of effort he may sometimes lack in his past stints with the Blazers and with the Suns. But I watched the Clippers and Suns series very closely, and I still sometimes go back and watch those games because I miss those days of Paul George taking us to the Western Conference Finals. And I saw how effective DeAndre Ayton was when he had that true point guard that he had at that time was Chris Paul. Now he has Luka Doncic, who's levels ahead of Chris Paul. And so I absolutely love what y'all have going on. And I think it's going to be a very fun year for both Clippers fans and Lakers fans going back and forth, trying to meet that threshold to get to the NBA Finals and then, of course, to win it.
So before we head on out, my friend, I wanted to go ahead and ask. Yeah, I know you're doing great stuff with the Clipperholics, but of course, everybody out there watching, whether Clippers fans, Lakers fans, NBA fans in general, should always try to go out of the way to catch good work from whatever team is there, just to make sure that they're reading good NBA thoughts as far as what they need to do to figure out. Okay, the Lakers are where they're at. But how are the other teams in the Pacific Division or the NBA or the Western Conference, what have you? So they need to educate themselves on a regular basis on what's going on with other teams in the NBA. So how do they do that with your great work, my friend?
Clipperholics is, of course, where I'm fully dedicated to. I'm fully investing all my time into building the best foundation and putting out the best work that I possibly can. But then outside of Clipperholics, I'm trying to put together a podcast of my own, Let's Talk Clips, where I'll be talking about basketball, of course, about the Clippers mainly. But then I also want to delve into teams across the leagues. I want to delve into trade rumors. The trade deadline is a crazy event in the midseason. All-star conversations, all NBA, playoff predictions, everything. I want to use that podcast as a platform to be able to voice my opinion, and then, of course, have others to be brought onto the podcast. So that is currently what I'm working on right now, and I'm putting the finishing touches together. But outside of that, just preparing for a successful regular season, hopefully a finals run, and hopefully finally a championship.
There you go. Once again, please go ahead and check out Iliyan Lakhani at Clipperholics right there for you. And you said social media, correct, as far as it's concerned, too, to follow you at?
Yeah, social media, Twitter, Iliyan LA3. That's where I am most active on. I'm constantly trying to I'm gonna try to engage with fans and viewers, and I'd say mainly the Let's Talk Clips podcast page, which is also linked in my Twitter bio, is where I will be engaging a lot as well.
Gotta do some podcasts on your own, my friend. Talking the clips out there. You should get into it.
Yeah, I'm trying to put it together, and I'm trying to get I want the production to be as best as I possibly can. So with that being said, I'm just finishing everything together, and then once that comes together, who knows, man? Hopefully I'll have you on my show one day.
Yeah, I would be honored to be a join and help you out. I've one of the fortunate things that I've been able to do is I've helped a lot of people get some over the early bumps in the business that they ask me on any questions of podcasting. And I've seen a couple of them grow even bigger than I'm doing now, which is always great to see. So yes, Iliyan, whenever you get that started, if you want to have me on as a guest, I would be most honored. But I know I'm going to bring you back on during the course of the season. No, not to torture you with what the Lakers are doing or the Clippers. Kawhi got suspended for 10 years and that's contract. No, but I will talk to you about having deeper conversations on the Clippers, the NBA, your thoughts on that. I'll leave my audience to go ahead and do that. I'll leave your audience and my audience to duke it out. So how about that?
That sounds perfect.
All right, because I try to keep it civil, but yeah, Lakers fans are Lakers fans, and I'll just leave it at that. So yes, but I will tell you what, it's great to have you on, Iliyan, and looking forward when you can stop on back right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.